I've recently heard that the soft tissue that we found of supposedly 65 million-year-old dinosaurs could have been preserved somehow, and that the DNA could have survived for millions of years. What would be the best way to go about debunking that theory that the DNA and the blood cells and the hemoglobin lasted for 65 million years?
Well, first of all, let's be specific. You're talking about the work of Dr. Mary Schweitzer at North Carolina State University. And she has found dinosaur blood, she's found dinosaur soft tissues, and we have found soft tissues. I have a free article on my website talking about soft tissues we have found in Triceratops horns. We've even found soft tissues of tube worms that are supposedly 500 million years old, which would predate dinosaurs by 300 supposed million years, and yet we found it soft. We have even found, the ink of squids and octopi and so forth that is still usable. We have found soft tissue in armored fish that are in the areas of supposedly 380 million, 360 million years old, according to the evolutionary philosophy. What is obvious is that all these creatures were buried in a worldwide flood only about 4,350 or so years ago, because DNA cannot be preserved. This flesh cannot be preserved. Now, at one time, Dr. Schweitzer said, well, it was iron deposits in the soil that kept these tissues from deteriorating. Actually, that's been pretty well debunked at this point. That was a while back. But regardless of that, think with me for a moment. If you ever had a mother, a grandmother, aunt, grandaunt who preserved vegetables in a glass jar, bell jar, cur jar, and they put them on a shelf. Now, hopefully they would have used them within a year or two, but have you ever walked into a house where they had shelves with these glass jars that were sealed and they were pasteurized? There's no bacteria inside at all. There's nothing living inside the jar. It's just the preserving of a previously existing plant. And have you noticed it's starting to deteriorate in the glass without any biological agent? Because the bonds between atoms in molecules will spontaneously break down. It is estimated that even under the best of temperatures and everything else, DNA really can't last more than 10,000 years. Even if you stretch it to 100,000 years, you can't possibly find it in something supposedly 65 million years old. It's impossible. The molecular bonds break down. And so what happens is you're going to end up with molecules that are no longer molecules. They're just a bunch of atoms. And at that point, you can't tell what it was previously.